Okay. Good morning. I am audible to everyone. Yes, I am audible to everyone. Okay. So, as we know, the regular practice, we start the national anthem first, and then we proceed further for the yoga session and the next part, which is the regular lecture. Okay. So I request everyone, please stand up for the national anthem. Okay.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जगति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Again, I request you all, so please ready for the yoga session. Just I will share the video clip, and as per the instructions, we are following the steps.
सुप्रभात. आजच्या मंगलमय दिवसाची सुरुवात योगासन आणि प्राणायामाने करूयात. कमरेवर हात ठेवून उभं राहायचं आहे. मान पूर्णपणे पाठीमागे, मग पूर्णपणे पुढे झुकवायची आहे. जेवढं शक्य होईल तेवढी पाठी, जेवढी शक्य होईल तेवढी पुढे, मग उजवीकडे, डावीकडे, पुन्हा उजवीकडे, पुन्हा डावीकडे. पुन्हा पाठीमागे घेऊन एक संपूर्ण वर्तुळ पूर्ण करायचं आहे. जितकं शक्य होईल तितकंच मानेला ताण द्या. एक वर्तुळ पूर्ण, पाठोपाठ दुसरं आवर्तन. फार जोरात नको, फार हळूही नको. हात पुढे घेऊन मुठी वळल्यानंतर आधी आतल्या बाजूनी बाहेर फिरवायच्या आहेत, मग बाहेरच्या बाजूनी आत फिरवायच्या आहेत. हाताचे पंजे उघडून वर खाली करायचे आहेत. त्यानंतर कमरेवर हात ठेवून जितकं शक्य असेल तितका ताण देऊन कंबर फिरवायची आहे. एकदा क्लॉकवाईज, एकदा अँटी क्लॉकवाईज. आता त्रिकोणासन करूयात. एक हात पूर्णपणे वर, एक हात खाली आणि कमरेतनं वाकायचं आहे. डावीकडे मग उजवीकडे. त्यानंतर कमरेतनं वळूयात. जितकं शक्य असेल तितकं. या सर्वच स्ट्रेचिंग व्यायाम प्रकारांमुळे आपले स्नायू सुदृढ आणि सुडौल होणार आहे. हाताची बोटं जुळवून घ्यायची आहेत आणि नंतर वर नेऊन फक्त तळव्यांवरती पायाच्या उभं राहायचं आहे. हे झालं ताडासन. जितकं शक्य असेल तितकं स्वतः उंच करण्याचा प्रयत्न करा. हात खाली. पुन्हा एकदा समोर स्ट्रेच केलेले आणि मग कमरेतनं वाकायचं आहे. जितकं शक्य असेल तितकं. अतिरेकही नको, आळशीपणाही नको. पुन्हा एकदा हात समोर आणि खाली. चटईवर बसायचं आहे पद्मासन घालून. पद्मासन जमत नसल्यास नुसती मांडी घालून बसायला हरकत नाही. ध्यान मुद्रा. आपलं पहिलं बोट आणि अंगठा हे एकमेकांना जोडून वर्तुळ केलेलं. आणि आपल्याला भस्त्रिका करायची आहे. श्वास जलद गतीने बाहेर सोडायचा आहे, आत घ्यायचा आहे. पोटाची लोहाराच्या भात्यासारखी होणारी हालचाल तुम्हाला जाणवेल. श्वास आत घ्यायचा आहे, बाहेर सोडायचा आहे. अशी 10 आवर्तनं झाली की एक दीर्घ श्वास आत आणि बाहेर. पुन्हा दीर्घ श्वास आत आणि बाहेर. आणि मग पुन्हा भस्त्रिका करायची आहे. दीर्घ श्वास आतमध्ये, दीर्घ श्वास बाहेर. यानंतर आपण करणार आहोत अनुलोम विलोम. आधी डावी नाडी दाबून उजव्या नाडीने दीर्घ श्वास आत घ्यायचा. मग उजवी नाडी दाबून डाव्या नाडीने सोडून द्यायचा. त्यानंतर डाव्या नाडीने श्वास आत घेऊन उजव्या नाडीने सोडायचा. मग उजव्या नाडीने घेऊन डाव्या नाडीने सोडायचा. बोटांनी नाक दाबताना ते पूर्णपणे दाबलं जाईल, परंतु त्याच्यावरती अतिरेकी दाब येणार नाही याची काळजी घ्या. जितका शक्य होईल तितका दीर्घ श्वास एका नाडीने आत घ्यायचा आहे, दुसऱ्या नाडीने सोडून द्यायचा आहे. मग दुसऱ्या नाडीने आत घ्यायचा आहे आणि पहिल्या नाडीने सोडून द्यायचा आहे. अशी किमान 5 ते 10 आवर्तन. अतिशय छान वाटतं आहे. तणाव मुक्त वाटतं आहे, हलकं वाटतं आहे, आनंदी वाटतं आहे, समाधानी वाटतं आहे. शांत बसायचं आहे. हाताच्या मुठी वळलेल्या, त्यानंतर दीर्घ श्वास घेऊन हात वर ताणायचे आहेत, श्वास सोडायचा आहे. खाली घेताना श्वास आत घ्यायचा आहे, वर जाताना श्वास सोडून द्यायचा आहे. जितकं शक्य होईल तितकं, शक्यतो 10 आवर्तन. पुन्हा शांत बसायचं आहे. लक्ष संपूर्णपणे श्वासावर केंद्रित. पुन्हा एक आवर्तन. हाताच्या मुठी वळलेल्या, हात जोरात वर ताणायचे, जोरात खाली घ्यायचे आहेत. हात खाली घेताना श्वास आत, श्वास सोडताना हात वर ताणायचे आहे. पुनश्च एक वार शांत बसूया. लक्ष श्वासावर केंद्रित. आत जातानाचा श्वास, बाहेर पडतानाचा श्वास, लक्ष पूर्णपणे श्वासावर केंद्रित. त्यानंतर भ्रामरी प्राणायाम करायचा आहे. हाताचे पंजे डोळ्यावर ठेवायचे, परंतु डोळे दाबले जाणार नाहीत अशा बेताने, आणि तोंड न उघडता ओंकाराचा ध्वनी करायचा आहे. कुठल्याही प्रकारे डोळ्यांवर दाब येता कामा नये. डोळ्यांसमोर थोडासा अंधार फक्त निर्माण करायचा आहे. आणि त्यानंतर तोंड न उघडता परंतु मोठ्या आवाजात ओंकाराचा ध्वनी, दीर्घ श्वास घेऊन जितका शक्य होईल तितका दीर्घ ओंकार करायचा आहे. किमान 5 आवर्तन. मन शांत करणारं, ताणतणाव मुक्त करणारं असं हे आसन, असा हा प्राणायाम. पुन्हा शांत बसूया. पाठीचा कणा ताठ, डोकं मान पाठ एका सरळ रेषेत. खूप छान वाटतं आहे, शांत वाटतं आहे, हलकं वाटतं आहे. आता दोन्ही तळवे एकमेकांवर घासून जी ऊर्जा निर्माण होते ती चेहऱ्याला, डोळ्यांना लावूयात. आपला सर्व ताण गेलेला आहे आणि आपण अभ्यासासाठी नव्या दिवसाची सर्व आव्हाने स्वीकारायला छान तयार झालो आहोत. धन्यवाद.
Okay, so good morning everyone. I am audible to everyone? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as we know, in the last lecture there is an actual problem with the internet, with particularly at the college level. So on the last Thursday it is not possible to conduct the regular lecture. So whatever the part which is there, which we want to discuss in that particular the lecture, that is on the last Thursday's lecture. So we will try to discuss this particular the part here in the today's lecture. Okay. So please wait for some time so that I will share these PPTs with you. Okay. Yes, in the last lecture, as we know, we discussed about this particular type of the drive train in that fluid flywheel. I am audible to everyone. I am audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you. Now, as we know, in the last lecture, we discussed about the drive train. So in that particularly the fluid flywheel or the hydraulic coupling. Okay. So in that also we seen how actually the fluid flywheel or the hydraulic coupling that is useful when we connect is to the input shaft as well as the output shaft with this particular type of the arrangement. Okay. So again, in the last lecture, we discussed about the torque converter, how that torque converter which is being used for transferring the rotating power from the prime mover. Okay, and also seen that the video also. Now, in the today's lecture, we will try to discuss more about the what is the meaning of the overdrive. Then the next part, what are the why the overdrive which is required. Then apart from that, how actually the working of an overdrive. Then next important part is about propeller shaft. Then what exactly the usefulness of the propeller shaft, and finally the final drive and the differential working. Okay, so let we start with the first point, that is known as overdrive. Okay, so as we all know, the arrangement of the overdrive, which is just shown in this particular slide. Okay, so on the right hand side, on your right hand side, there is an output shaft is there, and on the left hand side there is a input shaft is there, this one. Okay, so this entire arrangement of the overdrive in the automobile is such that if we just consider the entire housing, so on the right hand side is the output shaft is there, on the left hand side there is a input shaft is there. Okay, so this input shaft is connected with the help of the gears, okay, to the whatever this the entire output shaft which is there. So when we are considering the input shaft, it is first connected with the gear on this side as well as on this side, that is known as a sun gear. Okay, and the sun gear which is connected on both the end. Here if we just seen the if you just observe the dark portion, that is known as a ring gear on the bottom side also, so that gear is known as the ring gear. Okay, and again if you just observe this sun gear along with the extended portion, along with the on the both the side, it is connected to the planet carrier. Okay, again on the input shaft, and at the last, at the end of the input shaft, again the free wheel clutch which is again mounted on the input shaft. Okay, so such type of the arrangement is there when we are considering the overdrive in the automobile shaft. This is just idea about what kind of the arrangement which will be there in the overdrive. Okay, now one must know what exactly the overdrive means and why it is there in the automobile. Okay, so just we'll try to discuss what is exactly the overdrive. Okay, so an overdrive is a component of the transmission systems which is attached to the end of the gearbox in order to provide highest gear output. Okay, so in order to provide highest gear output with minimum engine input. Okay, so please remember, when we are going to use this particular the overdrive, okay, so it will provide the highest gear output with the minimum engine input, okay, which turns makes the drive smooth and more fuel efficient. Okay, so normally in the second paragraph it is mentioned about the entire arrangement. Okay, it is an arrangement of the sun and the planetary gear which are arranged in such a fashion that when the overdrive is enabled, it provides the high rotation per minute to the output shaft. Just it is mentioned in the first paragraph also. Okay, to the output shaft with the reduced engine rotation per minute, which is turns in provide the smooth, noise-free and high fuel economy to the vehicle. This is what the kind of the entire arrangement just we seen in this particular the previous type of the previous slide. So it will gives us the idea. Now, if we just again observe or why the need of the overdrive is there. Okay, so here there is a justification regarding the need of an overdrive. When we are going to a long drive, we shift our gear. This is one of the example which is given to the top gear, which is said to be the direct drive, which means that the final output shaft is rotating at the engine's RPM, which is in turns somehow increase the load of the engine shafts. So an overdrive can be used with the transmission box, which can be reduce the engine's load and provide the high speed. Okay, higher than the engine RPM during the long run. Okay, normally when we consider this particular the kind of the overdrive. So as we know, the in India particularly, this the first point, that is the fuel economy. It is the first priority of the people who are actually the middle class. We can say that the people like country in India. So as we know, everyone is everyone having the main focus on the fuel economy. But when we are considering the high-end cars like Audi 6 or the Mercedes E-Class or the many more or the luxuries cars which are there. So in that particular case, when we are observing the luxury and smooth riding experience is the priority which cannot be compromised. So this car having the automatic transmission is equipped with the overdrive, which makes them a more luxurious. Okay. So normally as the engine load is reduced with the use of the overdrive, which reduces the wear and tear of the engine as well as the transmission box. So we can say that by using the overdrive, also it reduces the maintenance of the automobile vehicle. Okay, so this is what we can say that why the need of the overdrive which is to be there. Now when we are considering the working of an overdrive, so it is basically the two important parts which are there in the working. So when it is disabled, that is the overdrive, it is disabled, and when it is overdrive, it is the enable. Correct? Now to explain the working of this, so just I want to show you one video clip regarding this overdrive. Okay, so again I request you to please wait for some time so that I can show you this video about the working of the overdrive. So please wait for 1 minute.
Before we begin talking about the most common issues with overdrives in these old Before we begin talking about the most common issues with overdrives in these old classic British cars, we first need to understand what in the world an overdrive does and how it works. This transmission is representative of what you would typically find in a car. At one end we have what's referred to as an input shaft. This is connected to the motor, and as the motor turns, the shaft turns. Inside the middle we have what's referred to as the gearbox. This is filled with a mind-numbing array of gears all doing their job. And inside this housing headed toward the back and out the back is what's called Before we begin talking about the most common issues with overdrives in these old classic British cars, we first need to understand what in the world an overdrive does and how it works. This transmission is representative of what you would typically find in a car. At one end, we have what's referred to as an input shaft. This is connected to the motor, and as the motor turns, this shaft turns. Inside the middle, we have what's referred to as the gear box. This is filled with a mind-numbing array of gears, all doing their job. And inside this housing, headed toward the back and out the back, is what's called the tail shaft. And what this does with the output shaft, this sends power to the drive shaft, to the rear wheels, and our car goes. Now imagine that I'm in a classic British car and I shift into first gear. When I do, and my motor's turning, the motor's going to turn about 3.5 times to get this output shaft to turn just once. Imagine that. 1, 2, 3.5 to get just one from here. Okay? What that is that means that we're getting less out than we put in. It's under what we put in, or it's referred to as an underdrive. This is one reason why when your car is in first gear and you're rolling around in the parking lot, the motor is making so many revolutions per minute, but you're not going very fast. I shift my classic car into second gear. When I do, the ratios inside change, and instead of turning 3.5 times to get one out the back, I turn it 2 times to get one out the back. I shift into third gear. When I do that, I go from shifting 2 times, as it was in second gear, down to about 1.3 or 1.3 times to get one revolution out the back. Finally, I shift into fourth gear. In fourth gear, this turns once and this turns once. I have a 1-to-1 ratio. That's called direct drive. Now, if your car has overdrive, either as a fifth gear built into it, or as most of the British cars, there was an addition on the back of the main transmission, what will happen is when I put into overdrive, this shaft will turn 0.82 times, a little better than 3/4 of one revolution to get one complete revolution out of this. Since I only put 3/4 of a revolution, a little more into this end, and I get a full revolution out of this, this is an overdrive. So that's how the system works. We actually get more out of it than we put into it. Now, in our next video, we're going to talk about the 3 parts that make up the overdrive system.
Okay, again, this is what the how the overdrive which will be there, the component, the need, and it's working. Okay, so now again, if I'm audible to everyone. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So if you just visit on the YouTube, so you will find a number of videos on the related to the overdrive. Okay, so again, the next part which is there, which is related to the this propeller shaft. Okay, so in the propeller shaft, as we know, this particular type of the arrangement that will gives us the idea about the entire 4 wheelers which are there. Okay, so if we consider the front end, so this is the wheel number 1 and wheel number 2, and if we consider the engine mounted on the front end, so engine which is there, and here which is known as a transmission system, drive shaft, and the differential. Okay, so in this particular arrangement, the figure shows the drive shaft in the rear wheel drive car much longer than the other configuration, because the distance between the rear axis and the transmission system. This is what about the drive shaft. As we know, when we are considering this drive shaft, mainly this one, which is known as a propeller shaft. Okay, so sometimes it is called as a prop shaft, or sometimes it is called as a propeller shaft, or sometimes it is known as a drive shaft also. Okay, so drive shaft is the primarily used to transmit the torque between the components are separated by the distance. Now, if we just see this particular, again the diagram, so engine is mounted on the front end. Okay, and as we know, the differential, it is on the bottom wheel. Okay, on in between the this last 2 wheels. Okay, so we want to transmit the whatever the power as well as the torque which is available from the engine, and we want to transmit through this transmission system to the propeller shaft or to the drive shaft to the differential, so that the movement of this particular the rear wheel which is there. Okay, so it is basically made for that. The drive shaft is primarily used to transfer the torque between the components that are separated by the distance, since the different component must be location in a vehicle. Okay, again, just I will show you the small video clip about how actually this the differential which is used, sorry, not propeller shaft, which is being used in the automobile. Okay, so please wait for 1 minute. Just I will show you this.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, messages that forge brighter connections,
accommodate changes in length, all these functions are performed by differential. It not only
a propeller shaft. It is a material or an element that connects the engine and the differential. It not only transmits the rotary motion of the engine to the differential, but it also absorbs the shock and transmits power at various angles, accommodate changes in length. All these functions are performed by this propeller shaft. It can, imagine if a vehicle going in a steep slope, the angle of the propeller shaft changes so that it can also be able to transmit the power from the engine to the differential, and it also change in length. It can accommodate the change in length, because if you are moving in a bumpy roads, the front wheel and the back wheel are suffers from a vibration, so that the propeller shafts also are extend and contract naturally, so that it can also accommodate the change in length. Then it can be a single member for cars, and it can be hollow or solid in cross section. This is a variety of propeller shafts. Then manufacturing. There are methods used in this manufacturing of the propeller shaft are continuous casting of the propeller shaft, and extrusion of propeller shaft and extrusion dies. Finally, heat treatment and surface hardening for protecting the propeller shaft from changing the property and environmental factors. Then continuous casting. It is the method used for the manufactured material or metal, that is water spraying guns, so that the water sprayed on the molten
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good,
can be cutted using a torch. See, this picture is placed at the bottom, showing the, and companies are converting over to this. Then because of the high effort, it's time consuming slab or plate into wires hollow pipes, plates, etc. They real through a die, model, or a some enter. Then it homogenizing process time, because then it is the homogenizing a temperature and kept. These dies act as a template for the billet to take up the shape, and it is the press tools, punch and die are used, but there are most other types of thread die are thread cutting dies, forming dies, forging dies, die casting dies, etc. The materials used in this dies are tool steels, carbides, and diamond dies are used for the only for fine wires. For hot drawing, cast steel dies are used. Lubrication. The lubrication must be present, because when the then press series of cylinder billet, this is a die, this is a ram over which the press is present. This is a dummy block. The dummy block is used to hold the billet, and this is the bolster backer for the supporting of the extruded product. Then aging. It is also a temperature that is listed below. First of all, ingot is taken, heating and billet heating. Then
Okay, so this is just an part we seen in the video. What are the different types of the methods of manufacturing the propeller shaft? Actually, working video which is there. So with respect to the time restrictions, so we'll stop our lecture today.